All right, Mac, do you think you can do the intro?
I think
we'll find out. I think I can.
We start with you, so
Okay,
you can kick us
let's,
off.
Okay.
Let's kickstart this off.
So we are back with another episode of Catching Up with the Camdens, and this is a rehash of episode 9, which is See No Evil, Speak No Evil. I don't think it mentions hearing evil, but anyways, I digress. Ruthie,
Wait, you got to introduce yourself.
I'm Mackenzie Rosman, but everybody knows that. Just kidding.
I'm David Gallagher.
And I'm Beverly Mitchell, and now let's get into the episode.
Nobody knows that. Anyways, so Ruthie has the chicken pox in this episode, and it opens up with her playing a really solitary, actually Huey's there, but she's playing Chutes and Ladders, I believe, or the Candyland, which are solid games, by the way. I played them, though, as an adult.
David, are they in your
it's not
arsenal?
As interesting as it was when I was a kid, sadly.
Are they in David's game collection?
It's not for, like, age 3 and up to forever. It's kind of like caps out at 12. You'll be bored.
Candyland's like the worst game. All you do is go from one side of the board to the other.
It was awesome. I remember it being so awesome.
Okay.
It hits differently as a
so the answer.
Anyways,
my question to you is: was
lots
it
of
in
shit
your?
happens.
I mean, Chutes and Ladders is more fun than Candyland. So,
David's the game expert, obviously, too.
Dynamic, board movement on Chutes and Ladders. What is my life come to?
It's not as dynamic as War. You know, the game War.
War? What, you mean Stratego?
No, the card game War, where it's like you put a 1 and then a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And basically, if you can count to 10,
should we talk about
you
the
can win
episode?
at War. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's circle back.
Lots
Circle
of
back.
stuff
Bring it
happens.
back.
Guns in this episode?
Why are you sitting in your room playing Candyland?
Because I am isolated and I have the chicken pox and Simon doesn't want me to breathe on him.
Fair enough. But
you get it anyways, right?
Well, we don't. You're
Spoilers.
just jumping. Yeah, spoilers.
Sorry.
Remember
But
slowly
you shouldn't
get
have
through
trusted
the
me with the
episode.
intro.
We were just actually in the episode. We gave up on the intro. We're now in. We're in it.
Practice
we're
makes
happening.
perfect. I'll do better if you keep letting me try it.
No, you're doing great.
Agreed.
I said we're doing. I wasn't even talking about that. I'm saying we've bypassed the intro. You did a great job. Now we are into the actual episode. So you don't want her to breathe on you.
Annie and Matt are listening to some rock song when they're driving too.
That's true.
Matt's just skipping ahead. I think again we're just going to the fast forward.
Mary wants to get tatted.
Okay.
We're just going through the major
No,
points.
no. Hold on.
All
Okay,
right.
we have to restart.
You have landed on Catching Up with the Camdens, and I am Mackenzie Rosman.
I'm Beverly Mitchell.
And I'm David Gallagher.
And we are rehashing episode 9.
Yep.
Speak no evil.
Hear no
Hear
evil.
no
It's
evil.
like, the monkey thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah.
And we start off with one crazy little monkey playing board games.
Chicken pox. By myself,
Yeah.
isolated. They quarantined. Who quarantines a 5-year-old, honestly?
With the chicken pox?
Yeah.
Everyone.
That's
Oh.
that's the first thing you do.
Oh. Okay. Well, yeah, she's playing a board game by herself. Well, Huey was there. But
Allegedly.
She had to do all of his moves for him, so that's...
So you're playing the game by yourself with the chicken pox. There's a knock at the door. This is Simon pleading, can you please hold your breath?
Right.
So that I can get my stuff. Simon does not have the chicken pox and is desperately trying to go about his life in peace without the chicken pox.
And he has that babe that he's trying to impress.
No,
Isn't
you
that-
skip
that
where
is- that is true.
So that's why he doesn't want to get the chicken pox, because he doesn't want to, that would count as his first. He doesn't. Never mind. He doesn't want to give the girl on his crush infectious disease quite so young in his dating life.
I do love that Ruthie does have one great line though too, saying when you actually say, well, why don't you hold your breath? Because he's sitting here blaming you, blaming you for breathing. And
Don't
you're like,
blame
well,
the
if you don't want to get
blame the
infected.
transmitted. Right?
Okay.
Too soon. So Moving away from the chicken pox, we get into early on in the episode the kind of the A storyline of the episode, which is Matt and Annie are in the car at night driving down the road. Where are they going? Do we remember?
I think they were supposed to be like going home, but it was also very funny because I was like, Glen Oak was a pretty safe place, but you know what? Some of those dark streets.
Well, we got to deal with these issues, man.
Yeah,
these issues, these kitchen table issues.
No, there was a car malfunction and one of the wires came loose, so Annie has to fix the wires.
That's right.
In that super old station wagon.
Well, you know,
that was a
classic.
classic.
Has a really huge drug problem, and that could be why that they got mugged in Glen Oak.
I don't think
because of the pot.
Yeah. He was probably hooked.
I think
on
we're
the
mixing
pot.
episodes right now.
That's true.
But in general, there's a drug problem and a lot of teen pregnancies in Glen Oak, and so it tracks.
That's true.
Yeah, fair enough.
The radio goes on the fritz.
Yeah.
And Annie says, "Pull it over so I can check." It's probably a loose wire because Annie is our jack of all trades.
She's our mechanic.
Kind of fix it all.
Yeah.
They constantly are showing her doing the plumbing and doing electrical and doing all sorts of crafty
rebuilding
things.
Car engines.
Yes.
Because as you do when you're a cool mom. Like Annie.
Right. So she goes to slide under the radio, under the dash, and when she does that, as they're sitting on the side of the road in the dark, a man runs up to the window with a gun and says,
"Give me your purse, your money,
give me
and
all your money. Give me everything. Give me the stuff."
And Annie says this will be the easiest robbery ever, and just hands it all over. And they then he takes her jewelry.
And Matt
but there's a gun.
Freezes.
Because there's a gun to his
There
head.
is a gun.
Too, doesn't he?
There's a gun, not to his head, just pointed in their direction. Generally speaking, it's still a dangerous image, but it wasn't it wasn't like to the it wasn't
pressed
that,
into
it wasn't
his
that
temple,
intense.
leaving a dent there. Yeah,
right. We weren't that kind of
wasn't
show.
in his mouth.
So
different show.
So Matt freezes. He can't move. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't respond. And Annie reaches over, gets his wallet out of his pocket, and gives the stuff. And he takes her wedding ring forcefully. She makes a noise like it hurts. He rips her ring off her hand, and then he takes their car keys so they can't go anywhere, and he runs off into the darkness. And so they've been mugged at gunpoint.
Annie's composure seems like she's been mugged before.
No, I think it's like when you're in that type of emergency situation and somebody freezes, like I also think like the motherly instinct is to like handle it.
Right.
Yeah,
True.
I think it was a good, I think the point of it for the two of them is to just demonstrate like
the two different
the
reactions.
right and wrong response, so to speak, like the safe response to this situation, which is, hey, no problem. Take what you want. My life is more important than anything I'm carrying. Not to fight back when someone pulls a gun on you. To just submit, give them what they want, let them go.
Well,
with
I
you.
agree.
And so Annie does that. Matt does the thing that you want to avoid doing, that you shouldn't do, which is to freeze up and not be responsive to the person making demands of you with a gun.
Yeah.
So And then that kind of sets up like the arc, the big main A storyline arc of the episode, which is dealing with being mugged, having this crime kind of happen to you, the thing you never think will happen to you when it does happen to you, and then how you process that event, that trauma, and the different ways that is processed by different people.
Which is great because like we've said before, it's like you get the perspective from Matt and then you get the perspective from Annie. And Matt's kind of in this like frozen, stuck kind of space where he's having a hard time kind of like going through it. And Annie's kind of like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah,
it's
she goes through a denial cycle.
Out, and then it comes
it's the like to the point where like you're fine until you're not fine, and when you're not fine, you're really, really not fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when like that kind of like breakdown, and all the while she's still trying to parent and she's still trying to like be there for everyone else. So she's kind of putting herself, her needs, and what had happened to her last, and wanting to deal with it, and kind of like goes about her way. So that's why we've got like the other storylines where she's taking care of the kids with like chickenpox, and then Lucy. Oh, what was the?
All of those are ways to avoid dealing with her own emotions about it.
Absolutely, but then to lighten. Like as Seventh Heaven does, we lighten the episode with other storylines. And, our good friend Jimmy Moon decides that he wants to break up with Lucy because they're both running for class president, and asks her dad.
But hold on. This starts.
He thinks she'll win and he doesn't want to
I was trying to bypass that part.
I know.
No,
I love it.
I was like skirting over it.
This starts with the greatest boyfriend-girlfriend fight of the show so far, which is you guys tiffing at each other over running for class president in front of the school. I forget exactly how that goes.
Well, this is so good. We're going to get into it after the break so I can convince you not to talk about it. So let's just do that. So I don't want to talk about Lucy's outfit of choice with trying to run for a class president. Because
the dress thing?
But yeah, this weird, which wasn't all that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't think it was that bad, but like it was made to be really that bad. But I definitely felt a little slighted by Mary's comment saying like, it's not Eric says like, it's not about what you look like, it's what you say. And then Mary says, I've heard the speech, let her wear the dress. And, I think it
actually fire burn though.
Yeah. I think that's such a sisterly like thing, so supportive and so loving and kind. But yes, there is a very heated. That's a joke because there's no heat behind Jimmy Moon and Lucy.
There's passion there.
Yes, very muted.
Screen.
Very muted passion.
Very. It's called monotone passion. It's as exciting as a white piece of paper. So yeah, that his Lucy and Jimmy Moon are running for class president, and we have a tiff.
You have a tiff.
A tiff.
It's cute. It's just silly and cute. But it made me laugh.
And Lucy, I'm pretty sure I huffed because I
always
kind of
have
like,
to have fine. Yeah. Fine to you too. And then you both like march off in different directions. And I was just like,
as one does in middle school relationships as boyfriend and girlfriend, because also what does that mean? And then, then he decides to break up with her.
Middle school relationships, like a 2 weeks is like a long span.
No,
everything is
Jimmy Moon,
shorter,
and they're going for
smaller.
the long haul, man. Until he decides to break up with her using her father to break up with her.
Well,
he's Jimmy Moon's looking for an out.
Yeah.
And and I don't know, I don't need to run to the defense of Jimmy Moon.
Yeah, please don't.
Tell her she's not allowed to see me anymore.
No, but I don't know. I guess to put it in the context of the show, or what the show is trying to do, is to show how like Jimmy Moon's a young kid. He doesn't know how to. This is his first breakup. He doesn't know what to do, and so he starts off by making bad calls, like, oh, I'll have someone else do it for me. He doesn't man up to break up with Lucy.
If only it was that easy. You're like, I don't feel like breaking up with him. Will you do it for me?
He looks for an out, an easy out, which is it's cute in its own way.
And honestly, I don't know what's worse, having a guy break up with you or having your dad break up with you for a guy.
I know what's worse.
All of it.
I think it's easy which one of those is worse.
Did the dad.
Having your own dad do it for him is worse.
Yeah. Having your dad be in on the breakup. Like, I
realize that sounds awful.
There's a lot of trauma that Lucy went through. Like, no wonder
Eric
she made such poor choices later.
We didn't go through with the plan.
Was he ever? I don't think he even for a second considered it. Did he?
I don't know. He obviously comes in. He did. No, he did. Because he comes in and Lucy's like sad. And then Annie's mad. It's just so sad, mad. Annie's mad at Eric for like having had the talk with Lucy. And then she makes Jimmy Moon and Lucy talk. And then all of a sudden, like magical, you
guys talk
middle
each other
school
out
stuff.
of breaking up with each other.
Yeah, because we realize that our
cute.
relationship is so much more important than running for class president while we're
Definitely
planting bulbs.
You guys are gonna.
And you're like, I'm not going to run for class president anymore. He's like, I'm not going to run for class president anymore.
You're worth it.
It's really sweet.
It's in a totally monotone.
It's
way.
just sweet in a silly, I don't know, kind of boring. It
wasn't
sweet and boring.
It wasn't my best storyline, but that's okay. So moving on, let's go to Mary, who wants to get a tattoo.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
so
fun.
Mary's storyline is that she is that she's like cool on the basketball team. We established she's a good player already previously.
But we also find this out because she's basically Lucy's trying to out her as sisters do. Where like Mary tells something for Lucy and then Lucy's like, Mary wants a tattoo.
You guys are savages.
Yeah, we're savages.
Like right from the beginning of the show, you guys constantly backstab each other.
I'm pretty sure I'm doing the most of it.
No, all the time.
But I'm pretty sure I start most of it and then Mary. Oh,
I don't know. I
actually,
mean,
no, I
like
think
the
it's
stuff
equal.
when the Hamiltons
it's
were
like,
there, like
when a war's been going on that long,
really
you just don't know
who
who
can
started
remember who started
it.
what.
It's so true.
It's awful. It's just messy. No one wins.
I definitely throw Mary under the bus for that damn tattoo.
You do.
And I was
You won
like,
that
Mary wants a
battle.
tattoo.
But then Mary
knowing-
tries to like
soften it.
She tries to like justify it and like and
little.
reason for
Like,
it
really little.
and it just fails miserably.
Like you can barely see
with
it.
everybody. And she is warned not to play the parents against each other, which she tries anyway.
As every kid does.
I know. And so that just is it's a non-starter. She can't get the tattoo. And then as the show progresses, we see the peer pressure kind of build. We see the other teammates be like, "Hey, see you at the tattoo parlor." Ha ha ha. And she's like, "I'll be there."
And then she's I do love the reveal with the scrunchy socks. And there is a tattoo.
That's right. And
there
then
is
in
a
the
tattoo.
end, we see her playing basketball. We get that great insert shot of her wildcat ankle tat.
With her scrunchy socks.
With the scrunchy socks, obviously. The first thing I noticed.
Yeah, 90s, man. Scrunchy socks.
Absolutely.
And then it's it's revealed that
spoiler,
she got a custom sticker tattoo that looks really real. I don't know where she found it.
But first, Eric and Annie are very disappointed and very upset and very mad because she went against their wishes.
Yeah, but she impressed her
they were
teammates, and that's
she's
what really
like,
counts.
She's like,
okay?
and I didn't really do anything.
She was just like, haha, fooled you as well.
Yeah.
Comes right off. And then they were like, but
and
we
I'm a
really
teenager
wanted
and I'm
to yell at you,
smarter
and-
than my parents.
Yeah,
And
she
I
outsmarts
showed
everybody because
you-
she makes it clear that she got it for team spirit and it fools everybody. So Mary wins again.
Yeah, Mary wins. Wait, but let's dive. So we explore.
But throughout this episode, the real important stuff,
Yes,
the A storyline is the fallout from the robbery.
Right.
So maybe we want to get into that a little more when we
right after
come
this.
back.
Right after this break.
Okay, so
We're
we're
back.
back. We're talking about the fallout from the mugging that happened to Annie and Nat.
Wait, and real quick, because we keep saying a storyline, and I know that's like super. We're very familiar with that, but like, will you, from the film critic side of it, give us the breakdown of like sometimes how these episodes are set up? So we've got the A, B, and C, just for our
Sure.
listeners, just a quick overcap.
As you guys are well aware, on Seventh Heaven, the episodes are typically themed around something, and all of the different characters' mini stories will all tend to like come around and join up around a common theme. And you could usually tell who it is pretty easily, but there's usually one family member whose storyline is kind of the centerpiece of the episode. And so that's like the backbone of the episode, and we call that the A storyline. So when you're doing multiple storyline threads, you have your A storyline, and then everything else is kind of, there isn't like A, B, C. You don't kind of rank order them, but everything, you'll have your A storyline, and then the B storylines will be supporting the A storyline, typically. On other show formats that are more sprawling, then you have like an A, B, C storyline that all kind of go off in their own directions, and that's just to keep track of different threads. But on our show, we always tend to coalesce around one theme and try to stick a landing together at the end, right? It all is supposed to tie up at the end. So when we talk about the A storyline in this case, that would be the mugging that happens. So that's the big kind of shocking moment in the beginning that gives you your cliffhanger into the episode. And that's the thing that kind of hangs over all the characters. We all hear about it. We all have our opinions about it. And we're most interested in how those characters are dealing with that.
Which is Matt and
event,
Matt
which
and
would
Annie.
be Matt and Annie. So, and again, the two of them deal with the mugging itself in two different ways. Matt freezes up. Annie responds selflessly and quickly to give the mugger what he wants to get him away for their safety,
and
which
that
is
actually,
correct.
I'm just as you're saying that. Also, like, what would you say in that situation? Are you a panicker? Are you someone who's like really good at dealing with like an emergency situation, or are you like? I'm just interested in like who you guys are as.
I am not a panicker. I'm pretty good at the emergency situation.
I'm pretty good at the emergency situation. What would you say?
My thoughts are clearer and more organized in that.
Yeah, the high adrenaline is like, it actually keeps you more centered. Yeah.
I like to think I can focus in under pressure. Yeah.
Then that's good. So if anything bad happens, all three of us are going to like rock it and kill it.
I mean, that's
a bad word.
Clamoring for that top spot of like who's the boss.
I'm just saying.
But,
I'm in charge. I'm in charge. We're all dead.
Three people. The Three Stooges all run to solve the problem and bump heads.
At the same time,
I would be laughing because I guarantee all three of us would solve something uniquely different. Like our strategies would all be very different in that scenario.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take us off, but I just was
circling back.
Circling
Bev.
back. Circling.
Come on,
back.
Bev. We're circling back.
Circling.
So so as we go through the episode with Annie and Matt, we see, I think so Annie at first is just like, I'm fine. And on the surface, she really does seem fine. She's taking care of the kids. She's going through the routine stuff. You could tell that she's preoccupied, but she does seem to keep it together. And you're really not sure how that's going to shake out. Matt early on has to take the kids to school. He says, I'm going to go get in the car. And he sits back in the car, and when everyone tries to go to school, he can't move again. So as soon as he puts himself back in that position he was in when it happened, he freezes up again. And so his trauma is more immediate. It's harder for him to deal with. And it's clear that he needs more help right away to kind of get back to his normal self. Yep. And while that's happening, Annie is so busy trying to be her normal self and make sure everything is fine that she's effectively hiding how she truly feels about what has happened. They get a call from the police station saying that they have suspects. So we've established that the police are kind of like looking for the guy early on. But then later they get a call that they have suspects. They speak directly to Annie. She says, yeah, sure, we'll be right there. And she hangs up and says nothing.
Sergeant Michaels, too. He's back.
Do you think that this is why Annie and Eric don't want Mary to get a tattoo? Because, the tattoo is how she recognizes the suspect who robbed them. Maybe she's like, Mary, that tattoo could give you away if you commit a crime.
I think that there was a no tattoo rule that was established at the beginning, but I do think that there is also this kind of idea that if you have a tattoo, like you could be like a criminal.
I think probably.
I'm joking. Obviously.
I know you're joking,
but I do think that there is a connection with the tattoo.
Yeah,
there is obviously.
If you're asking me if the show is suggesting to its audience that tattoos are things
they lead you to the pot
put on their body by people who commit crimes. The answer is yes. Yes, I think they are suggesting that.
I think they're
which
also,
seems silly
they
in
also would
today's
suggest
world.
do not pick a tattoo off the wall.
Well, most people would have suggested that to you, but not Jess.
She left me hanging.
Do you remember what the tattoo was that he had in his hand? It wasn't like a...
It was a
snake.
A snake, yeah.
It was a snaky snake.
And it was...
I forget what that reference is from. I'm sorry.
No. But yeah, so then we kind of like established...
Snakes are bad because this is there's a biblical reference there, maybe.
Perhaps. I think
if you're diving way deeper into it than like then I think it was like
maybe. I mean, we have to check the script to see if the tattoo is specified. It might have been, but also I'd totally believe it if they just were like, "I need a criminal tattoo, like snake." Like, you know what I mean?
It would have been barbed wire, though.
I mean, there's a host of like stereotypical
Are you telling me
tattoos
it wouldn't be a hibiscus flower?
It's a butterfly on his lower back.
It's T-bone across his tramp stamp.
The classiest
our
tattoo.
storied relationships with tattoos.
I mean, there's a
Seventh
lot.
Heaven.
I mean, that's a whole episode, but we're not going to start that one right now.
So
even though I definitely
circling back.
I love this. Let's circle back.
I'm so sorry, Mac. Please circle us back.
Sorry, you're getting off topic. Please.
Bring us back, Mac. Bring us back.
Well,
So, returning to that, there's a police lineup, and I think we have Sergeant Michaels again in this one.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy. There's only one police officer in Glen Oak.
No, there was two, but like our main one is
there
obviously
were two.
Sergeant Michaels.
And you know, that's why there's a lot of crime in Glen Oak, because they're a really understaffed police force. So they've pulled all these guys in, and Annie recalls the man who mugged them.
no, false.
No?
Matt.
I watched it.
You didn't.
I did, actually.
She was fast forwarding. Let's be real.
I did. No, but she remembers the tattoo, and that's
no,
what she knows.
No.
On his hand.
No.
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 Hold on a second.
No.
No cheating. They
That's what I remember.
they pull
Wrong.
some men for the lineup,
I
and
never remember
Mary
things correctly. What?
Mary and Matt look at the lineup and they say, "I'm sorry, I
Right.
don't know."
I know at first
I
they
can't-
didn't.
Well,
That's what we're talking about.
talking
Then
about.
doesn't the tattoo what they do remember?
Yeah,
Yes,
but that's
you're
later.
skipping parts.
Oh.
It then gets set up.
I wasn't aware this
for
was
that.
a chronological recap.
Well, I mean, it's never been chronological with you, so
All
I
right,
guess
all
we
right.
should
Don't
have
let me
admitted
tell
that.
this story.
Wait,
'Cause
are we should do a recap in reverse with starring Mac.
God. I love you
Jeez.
think.
That's what every episode is.
So they
Do you see
they
why
say
we can't do a rewatch, people?
They can
They've
see.
emotionally
They can see.
blocked
They
it.
can see us.
Wait, who's emotionally blocked it? Our
Well, Matt and
audience?
Mary can't
Or you?
identify
Oh,
the
you.
man
Got
because
it.
they're so traumatized they blocked it out.
Oh, you're recapping. You're coming back in.
right?
Okay, got
But
it.
why
I
would
just-
Mary be able to do anything? Like, she wasn't even there.
What?
What?
You said
Where-
Mary. Never mind. I'm just
No,
gonna be
no.
quiet.
No. Annie does have a moment with Mary
Yeah.
at the grocery store when Annie thinks that Mary's being attacked, and like she kind of goes mama bear at the guy who's just returning her sunglasses.
That's right.
And
So
and that's also when
That's
Mary
when she's starting to crack.
and that's
the
Right.
yes,
facade
that's
is-
when and where Mary kind of just is trying to calm her down, and Annie kind of starts to fall apart in the parking lot.
And where do we go from here? So the Annie starts to show her cracks at the grocery store.
And there's some music, probably. that
There's
comes
always
on.
There's
music.
definitely
There's
some
always
music. But
Yeah.
we show Annie over the course of the episode, the kind of gravity of the situation, the trauma that she has suffered kind of catches up to her eventually, where she then has a wonderful, sweet performance, a scene where she, finally kind of lets it out and gets upset in the kitchen, I believe, with Eric.
And then Eric actually says, he goes, "So by fine, you mean that you were terrified and you were not okay." And then
Right.
she just like kind of like falls apart.
Yeah,
which
he
is
kind of spells it out,
Yeah.
and she does a wonderful kind of delayed breakdown. So again, awesome performance from Catherine as usual. And what happens is when they see Mary's fake tattoo, they go. Then she realizes, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There
And
is
that's
something
when
to
she
identify.
calls back and says, he had a tattoo.
Sort of what I said.
It's not really, but I think I can see where you were trying to get there. And you know what? Here, we'll dive deeper and we'll revisit whether that's what you said or not when we come back. And we are back. That was really good.
Thanks.
I think that was awesome.
No one told me we were doing that.
Well, I mean,
not that I would participate in the singing.
We want one of these days we'll just get you to sing on the podcast. Anyway, so wrapping up like this episode and finishing it with a bow is the whole tattoo connection. That is what kind of, once she sees it on Mary, even though she's mad because Mary has a tattoo, it's this realization that is a way that she can identify.
Yeah, we do a nice little flashback type thing where she's and she remembers the snake.
Mm-hmm.
The snake.
What do you think like the ultimate criminal in the eyes of the Camdens looks like? I mean, definitely lots of tats, on the pot, and pregnant as a teenager. Like that's the pinnacle of criminality.
Maybe.
The
I mean, there's nunchucks.
All roads lead to that suspect, yes.
Right. Anyways.
We're going to have to dive deeper into that question. Okay. And I think once we keep going through these episodes, I think it might really stand out to us. We have
things to add to it.
I think there's definitely stuff to add. But as we finish up this episode, also can we also go back to, there's like that cute scene where like you kind of Simon, get left in the bathtub with all the cornmeal.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, man.
Oatmeal bath.
We completely glossed over our chicken pox whole arc.
I have a picture, I think, of you and me in the bathtub.
And I also distinctly remember them like having to painstakingly paint me with the spots.
Yeah.
And then take pictures of me
where they
so that they could were
exactly.
Them.
So they could always put them in the same spot. And then if you notice in the episode when Simon, so first of all,
and they put that new
when I'm trying not
so
to get the chicken pox from you first, I get a snorkel.
Oh, that was so good.
I get a snorkel out. Yeah. This is one of Simon's best physical gags this early in the show, honestly. And I was like watching it going, yeah, but that's funny. Good job, me. I did it. The snorkel. I'm talking to you through the snorkel. And Annie's just like, it's not going to work, Simon. It's obviously not going to work.
Yeah, and when she's like, you were exposed a week ago. And you're like, wait, what? So there's nothing I can do?
That's not how this works.
And you also were, I think, Happy's itching too. And then Matt says something about fleas. And you're like, wait, I can get those too? Like, what? What? And then also this realization once you have everything that you can't give it to anyone because you thought you had power to give it away.
I'm powerless. Yeah, I try to threaten you guys with the chicken pox, don't mess with me. And you're like, we had it. Mary was like, we had the chicken pox already.
And then you were just so deflated. Yeah.
Yeah, it is cute. I love the snorkel gag though. My favorite gag that I got in this episode. That's my highlight. But then they as we go through where were we going? What was the other the thing you were saying about it just a second ago?
The cornmeal? Or
the cornmeal.
Cornmeal, oatmeal.
Yeah, no, the oatmeal bath thing. Yeah.
I don't know. You poured an entire box into the bathtub.
Right.
And then
Annie sets me up with one of those nice oatmeal bath things that you do when you get the chicken pox, or at least we used to do when we used to get the chicken pox. And
then you get left in the bath.
And then she walks away, and I'm like, give me that box. And I dump the whole thing in there and get in and basically batter myself to be deep fried or something. Which is funny and stupid.
Obviously, Annie walked away and forgot.
No, Annie went to the grocery store, and then I think you yell at me.
Well,
I come to the door, and I'm like, Mom's gone.
I'm just stranded
and then
in
you're
the bath.
Go get Matt.
And I'm like, go get Matt, right? Because Boys and Girls Club, separate,
definitely. I'm not going in there.
Separate spa rooms.
Yeah, and then Matt just picks you up out of the bath and was like, I love the part where, because this is such a kid thing to say, you're in the bath and then Matt's like, got to get you in the shower, and you're like, but I just took a bath.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, as you're literally covered head to toe in like.
While I am fully battered. Yeah,
what
it's
did
ridiculous.
You put on you? What was? Do you remember?
No,
what
I
it
don't
was?
remember.
Also, remember the bath was always cold. Like they tried to make it warm, but like
Oh,
obviously like there was
no, because it's just sitting there.
Actual drain.
Yeah, there's like you just have this like weird. The bath scenes were always just so weird and uncomfortable and just like.
Was it as bad as the food on the dinner table?
No, I think it was worse. The bath was worse, but it wasn't like you didn't have to do that much.
Well, it's warm when they fill it up for you, but by the time you shoot, it is not warm, and and no one cares. No one's gonna redo it.
You definitely
so
aren't.
You just get in there, and it's like room temperature water, and you're covered in what looks like
fake
sunscreen. I'm just covered in paste.
Yeah.
I hate personally the sensation of being sticky. I can't stand it. And so like anytime I had to do I really don't like being covered in like the fake blood or anything like that when you're on sets and stuff. I'm always just like, ugh, get it off me. Like I hate I hate being sticky so much.
I love it so much.
It's a serious ick for me.
Do you use syrup as a condiment then, or you just avoid
I do.
it entirely?
I love maple syrup.
I always end up getting it on my elbows and in my hair.
But I can't stand like letting the maple syrup like drip down the bottle. Like I'm the person who like wipes the bottle when I use it, like hot sauce, maple syrup, anything I use that's like that, I will clean it before I put it back.
I can't use it without getting it somewhere near my elbow.
Sorry.
All right, we're circling back.
Yep. Now, anyway.
So basically, Annie kind of like you survived chickenpox.
I survived the chickenpox.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna beat it, but no.
Yeah,
Simon is defeated.
Yeah. And then Annie has her big moment in the end, realizing yes. And we
back to what we were talking about originally. Annie has her breakdown, and we kind of wrap up the episode with her realization that the guy who mugged them had a wrist tattoo, a hand tattoo. And so they go back to the lineup at the police station, and she has everybody roll their sleeves up, and there it is. So they do catch the guy who mugs them in the beginning, and they kind of get that I don't know,
closure.
Yeah, that's probably that's the best term for it. They
and
get
I think
some
that's
closure
security
from
that he's
off
the streets and that, and also like for the whole family too.
There's that moment in the middle of the night where Annie gets up from bed.
And grabs Happy
and goes and takes Happy off of my bed. And that's where you're up in my bunk with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing up here? But I've just given up. I'm just like, all right, whatever. And Annie takes Happy with her downstairs to go check the lock. She's been changing the locks the whole episode.
Yeah.
And she checks the front door again.
Happy looks like
and
a
then sits,
guard dog too.
Well, I just thought it was so sweet because Happy is so not the dog that would be helpful in that situation.
No, she would be like, she would cover her eyes.
Yeah, but it just that secure. But Happy was one hell of a security blanket.
Yeah.
You know, she was
episode.
fluffy and soft. So Happy did her job excellently.
It was a good episode. It was fun. It was very. There was a lot of sweet moments in it, and a lot of funny moments. And there was a lot of. It was well balanced. It was a well balanced episode.
The title of this episode and like seeing it on our scripts when we got that for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Well, that was our wrap up of See No Evil, Hear No Evil, our rehash recap. Let us know what you guys think, what your favorite scenes were. Leave us comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the heart button. Check us out on Patreon and also follow us on socials because we've been teaching David how to do social media. It's been crazy. Crazy things are happening. You have no idea what we're making him do, and it's all for you guys. So make sure that you follow us on all of our socials and do all of the fun things because we got some good stuff for you. Right? Anybody else have anything to add?
No, you nailed it.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks,
she
guys.
said.
Hey guys, check us out on Patreon for early access to catching up with the Camdens episodes, exclusive group and individual content, access to all three of us via chat, and more.